It is Wednesday, October 12th. The war of words between Donald Trump and the Republican establishment has just reached fever pitch.
I think we should get support, and we don't get the support from guys like Paul Ryan. I don't want his support. I don't care about his support. What I want to do is I want to win for the people.
Plus, the brand new attack ad Trump just released on Hillary Clinton and her health. We are live in Washington.
A stunning revelation from the latest WikiLeaks document dump. Top Hillary Clinton staffers busted mocking Catholics and evangelicals.
And more than a dozen officers punished. Their crime? Supporting Donald Trump. Fox and Friends First starts right now.
Sun not quite up yet here in New York City, but the lights are bright as always on 6th Avenue there right outside our offices. Good morning to you. You're watching Fox and Friends First on this Wednesday morning, halfway through the week. I'm Abby Huntsman.
And I'm Heather Childers. Thank you so much for starting your day with us, and nice to have you back as well. Yeah. Let's get right to the race for the White House, though. The shackles have been taken off.
Yep, Donald Trump declaring war on establishment Republicans for pulling their support and vowing to teach them a lesson.
Leland Vitterts is live for us in Washington with how it all went down. Good morning, Leland. What is the latest today?
Ladies, good morning to you. It seems as though Mr. Trump has felt somewhat constrained or perhaps restricted by the normal rules of politics. Not anymore, he says, after House Speaker Paul Ryan announced he will no longer defend or campaign with Trump and instead focus solely on protecting the GOP majority. This November, Trump tweeted, "It's so nice that the shackles have been taken off me, and now I can fight for America the way I want to." And then he showed his followers exactly what that meant, following up a couple of hours later. The very foul-mouthed Senator John McCain begged for my support during his primary. I gave, he won, referring back to 2008, then dropped me over locker room remarks. And Trump seemed equally less restrained, or shackled to use his word, on the stump.
In 28 days, we're going to win Florida, and we are going to win back the White House. We're going to win them back. I'd like to begin tonight by extending our thoughts and prayers to those recovering from the tragic aftermath of Hurricane Matthew. And I watched, and fortunately it took a little bit of a turn to the right, to the east, and we got a little lucky, but it was still very bad. So to everybody, our thoughts and prayers are with you. Thank you.
Trump made those remarks in the very conservative Florida Panhandle, a place he needs every vote he can get. Consider this. No Republican has won the White House without carrying Florida since Calvin Coolidge in 1924. And Florida, which had been a toss-up state, is now in the lean Democrat state. Fox News switched it from a toss-up because of recent polling, but also because Clinton's team has been doing an exceptional job of registering new voters. As our Carl Cameron reported, yesterday was the deadline to register to vote in 13 states, including Florida. Trump mentioned it for the first time yesterday morning on Twitter. Ladies, back to you.
It is a lots of opinions on this one. Thank you, Leland. Well, now it's time to take a look at who is talking. And this morning, Donald Trump's evangelical advisor, Pastor Robert Jeffress, explains why Trump is still the choice for conservative Christians.
The real issue here in this election is it's a binary choice for conservative Christians between one candidate who is pro-life, pro-religious liberty, and pro-conservative justices of the Supreme Court, and the other candidate who holds exactly the opposite views on all of those issues. And to me, for a conservative Christian to stay at home and allow Hillary Clinton to become the president is unthinkable and inexcusable.
And on the Democratic side, it is a blast from the past. Bill Clinton's former Vice President Al Gore campaigning alongside Hillary Clinton in the battleground state of Florida, the two pushing a message on climate change in hopes of appealing to millennial voters.
The choice in this election is extremely clear. Hillary Clinton will make solving the climate crisis a top national priority. Her opponent, based on the ideas that he has presented, would take us toward a climate catastrophe.
Gore, who claims to have invented the internet, is Clinton's latest attempt to sway young voters away from third-party candidates.
Well, top Hillary Clinton staffers busted mocking Catholics and evangelicals. That is one of the many, many stunning revelations from the latest WikiLeaks dump of emails from campaign chair John Podesta. Now, the 2011 email chains are between Jennifer Palmieri Podesta and John Halpin from the liberal think tank Center for American Progress. Halpin slammed Fox News CEO Rupert Murdoch and News Corp chairman Robert Thompson for raising their children Catholic, writing this: "It's an amazing bastardization of the faith. They must be attracted to the systematic thought and severely backwards gender relations." Podesta did not respond, but Palmieri did, saying this: "I imagine they think it is the most socially acceptable, politically conservative religion. Their rich friends wouldn't understand if they became evangelicals."
This is troubling, should be troubling politically for her, not because these evangelicals, maybe the Catholics, not the evangelicals, are going to vote for her, but it shows the hostility toward religious freedom, and that is where these evangelicals are right now.
Another chain appears to show coordination between the Clinton camp and the DOJ. In May 2015, Press Secretary Brian Fallon forwarded an email that he got from a DOJ official, writing this: "DOJ just filed a briefing saying the government proposes releasing HRC's cache of work-related emails in January 2016. Cheryl Mills exclaimed, "Get out." Podesta now blaming the leak on Trump advisor Roger Stone. He claims that Stone has been in touch with Julian Assange and gave Trump, quote, advanced warning. WikiLeaks says that they have 50,000 more emails to come.
Wow. Also breaking overnight, an entire police department targeted in a possible bomb attack. The feds now hunting for the person who left a backpack stuffed with explosives right on their doorstep. The bomb squad moving into a Denver, Colorado suburb to examine the bag, which sat outside a police headquarters building for more than 12 hours. The police chief describing it as a, quote, very real threat. Investigators are still working to figure out if it was an act of terrorism. And new details in the deadly police shooting of an unarmed black man. Blood tests showing Terrence Crutcher was high on PCP when Tulsa, Oklahoma officer Betty Shelby opened fire.
Shots fired!
Shelby, a trained drug agent, told investigators she thought Crutcher was on something from the start. Concerned his erratic behavior posed a threat to her life. Well, she pleaded not guilty to first-degree manslaughter.
To the Pentagon now, saying that it may retaliate against the militants who attacked a U.S. Navy destroyer. Two missiles falling short of the USS Mason and landing in the Red Sea on Sunday. Still unclear who fired them, but officials say that it came from an area in Yemen controlled by an Iranian-backed militant group.
A massive explosion in a Chicago suburb, leaving one person clinging to life and reducing an entire block of homes to ash and rubble.
You guys gotta move it back. Right now, we gotta make sure this doesn't explode again.
Oh my God!
Wow, look at that. Two workers were fixing a gas leak outside a townhome complex when the line exploded. Flames 3 stories high, consuming 2 of the 5 units and sending bystanders running for their lives.
And look at this, a plane falling from the sky, crashing in a fiery blaze on a busy roadway. And now investigators think it may have been intentional.
It was a crash, and then like an atom bomb went off, and then it just kept blowing up. And then I heard people screaming.
According to the New York Times, a flight instructor on board says the Connecticut crash was not an accident, prompting an FBI investigation. A student pilot was killed as the single-engine plane careened through power lines, slamming to the ground. And now take a look at this. Police taking down a shoplifting suspect with a taser in the middle of a freeway. A sheriff's deputy closing in on the man as he looks for oncoming traffic. Police say that all of this started when these two men tried stealing $2,000 worth of clothes from a Kohl's in Texas. When officers tried to pull over their getaway car, the driver took off, speeding the wrong way down a highway. Eventually, the suspect ditched that truck and then ran across the freeway. Oof.
To weather now, and tens of thousands of people being told to get to higher ground as North Carolina braces for even more flooding from Hurricane Matthew. Swollen rivers are taking over towns as far as 80 miles inland, stranding people inside their homes for days.
Helicopters would fly around my house. They didn't fly over me. And I had all kind of signals. I wrote notes all over the house. I had sheets hanging out. Nobody saved me but my son and my nephew.
Meantime, Haiti is bracing for famine after Matthew caused, quote, apocalyptic damage to the country. In some cities, all of those crops have been totally wiped out.
Our prayers for all those folks in Haiti and North Carolina. The time now is about 9 minutes after the top of the hour, and a Fox News exclusive. Meet Hillary's fall guy.
I would say 100% I was victimized. To somehow discredit me, throw me under the bus, do whatever it took.
Now we know just how far the Obama administration was willing to go to protect Hillary Clinton.
Plus, think media bias doesn't exist, then why is there a mad dash over at NBC to find more of Trump's hot mic moments?
And Tim Tebow to the rescue. When a fan has a seizure, he starts to pray. The incredible story some are calling a miracle.
But first, a look at the weather across the country.
I think we should get support, and we don't get the support from guys like Paul Ryan. I'm just tired of non-support, and I don't really want to support. What I want to do is I want to win for the people, because Hillary Clinton, she is a disaster. She is a disaster.
27 days now until the election, and the GOP is in a heated war of words with their own nominee. 29 Republicans have now withdrawn their support from Donald Trump.
But has the establishment forgotten who the real enemy is? The deputy opinion editor at the Washington Times, Kelly Riddell, is here to weigh in for us this morning. Thank you so much for joining us, first of all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So what do you think the real reason is behind all of this withdrawal of support? And have they forgotten, if Hillary Clinton is worse?
Yeah, there was always going to be a rub, given that Donald Trump is an outsider. He's not a politician. He's not friends with these guys in the GOP establishment here in Washington, D.C. So there was always this natural friction that was going to happen. But Donald Trump won with 14 million votes, the GOP primary. That's more than in any Republican primary history. If you're going to look at Ted Cruz, he also ran as an outsider. Add those votes together, he won more than a plurality. The majority of Republican voters want to see a change in Washington, and that starts with those in Congress. We all need each other to win the White House. We need 90% of the base to come out and vote if we want to win. So we need to come together. So this friction that's happening, it's a little unbelievable to me, given that Hillary Clinton is the one that we want to beat. Even the never-Trumpers can agree that Hillary Clinton is corrupt. She represents the status quo, and her administration would be more of the same that we've had under Barack Obama, and we want a change.
Yeah, well, not all Republicans seem to be on board with that. As I mentioned at the top of the segment, we now have 29 Republicans who originally supported him now polling that support. We have some of the tweets, because it seems like Twitter is the outlet where everyone can sort of vent. This is from Joni Ernst saying the comments DJT made are lewd and insulting. There is no excuse and no room for such reprehensible and objectifying talk about anyone ever. This one's from Jeb Bush, who was never really behind Donald Trump, saying, as the grandfather of two precious girls, I find that no apology can excuse away Donald Trump's reprehensible comments degrading women. It goes on and on. Donald Trump responded. Here's what he said. He says, the media and establishment want me out of the race so badly, I will never drop out of the race, will never let my supporters down. And then he goes on to say in another tweet that he needs them in order to win. How dangerous is this for top Republicans to now be polling their support with just a few weeks now until the election?
Well, it's dangerous for Republicans in general. Our party is splintering as we're watching it implode. We're eating our own. We're supposed to all come under the big tent, and this is just not happening. I think it was all too easy. Donald Trump has been bombastic from the start. He was a reality television show host who was a billionaire playboy. That was his persona. That was his reputation. GOP voters knew that. So for everyone to abandon him on Saturday after that lewd tape came out, and it was lewd and it was crass, and I do not support anything that was in it. But let me just say that it wasn't a shocker. It wasn't a shocker to anyone. So I think there's a phony outcry. They've seen the polls going, and they're abandoning him because they're looking out for their own political futures.
That's what I was going to ask you.
And that is just unfortunate.
Actually, as we wrap this up, it's also important to take a look at those particular states and see which ones are involved in some competitive races for, House seats, for Senate seats, also for some of the governors. And then my other question, though, to you is who should extend the olive branch, because Donald Trump certainly sounds like he is not.
I think that Donald Trump, if he does win this presidency, and he will win it against all odds because he's running against the media, he's running against the establishment, he's running against Democrats, he's going to need to work with Congress to get their agenda passed and the Republican agenda passed. The same token, Paul Ryan's going to need to work with him if he wants to get his agenda passed. They need to all come together. Donald Trump should be attacking Hillary Clinton. He should not be having a tweet storm against Republicans.
Yes, they say it takes two to tango.
Yeah.
Kelly Riddell, thanks for being with us so early this morning.
Thank you,
Good
guys.
to see you.
Thank you.
All right, the time's now 18 minutes after the hour. Coming up next, more than a dozen cops punished their crimes supporting Donald Trump.
And just call it the man tax, the place where men will pay more to make it fair. Welcome back to Fox and Friends. First, a Fox News exclusive for you. Another Clinton cover-up. Some brand new evidence this morning showing just how far the Obama administration went to protect Hillary Clinton and her run for president. Listen to this. Former arms dealer Mark Turi saying the administration tried to make him the fall guy for Clinton's failures in Libya. Turi saying the State Department accused him of arming rebels in an effort to oust former dictator Muammar Gaddafi.
I would say 100% I was victimized. To somehow discredit me, throw me under the bus, do whatever it took to protect their, next presidential candidate.
All criminal charges against Turi have been dropped, which he says is a move to keep Clinton's role in the blown operation under wraps. He tells Fox News that some of those weapons eventually ended up with ISIS.
New questions this morning on how long NBC sat on Donald Trump's hot mic moment. Billy Bush reportedly bragged about the 11-year-old Access Hollywood tape as far back as August, but it still took nearly 2 months and a leak for the footage to see the light of day. And now it seems like NBC's top priority is taking down Trump. The network's president reportedly leading a mass hunt for old Celebrity Apprentice tapes, hoping to find more damaging statements made behind the scenes.
And now to a Fox Business Alert for all pet owners. This would include you.
Cheryl Casoni from our sister network, Fox News, is here with what you need to know. Cheryl, what do I need to know this morning?
Well, there's a pet food recall to tell you about, and it's the Cesar Millan inspired dog food, Caesar dog food. This is made by Mars Pet Care, and unfortunately some of the customers have found plastic pieces. Luckily, no pets have been harmed, no injuries, but they're recalling these from August of 2018. Another recall I got to tell you about, Bluebell ice cream. They're expanding that cookie dough based listeria concern recall. Basically, there's worries that listeria could be in cookie dough. There's been no reports of illnesses so far, but they're just trying to be as careful as they can. It's different types of cookie dough ice cream from Bluebell. February 2016 to September of 2016 is when they were manufactured.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
Well, so if you're a man and you're out buying some of this at a pharmacy, specifically one, they're instituting a man tax?
Well, remember the female tax? We talked about that a while ago. Well, yeah, a New York pharmacy, it's called Thompson Chemists in Soho here in Manhattan, say that basically, according to their science, that all females will shop tax-free. Males are going to, have to pay that man tax. Remember, there was that study last year showing that the same products for men and for women, there was kind of a big difference when it came to the tax, and that feminine hygiene product tax, of course, was something that was very controversial. And the woman, the female owner of the store, says enough is enough. She's fighting back a little bit.
I like that.
Good for her.
All right, Cheryl, I know you said that you like doing dishes and laundry. It's like therapeutic for you.
Yeah,
well, now there's a new device apparently that makes it doing even easier.
Yeah, this is dishes, which I'm not as excited about as doing laundry, I got to admit. But this is a GE appliance. It's the first dishwasher from GE. It's actually going to order detergent for you when it sees that it's running low and supplies are running low on the machine. Of course, with all these connected, Wi-Fi connected appliances that are out there, we've seen different machines and refrigerators and things tell you different things. But this is now the first dishwasher that will do it. It's not expensive. It is expensive. It's $1,500. So coming up at 5:45, guys, what would you make of dead people receiving $1.5 million in benefits through Medicare? Well, it happened, and I'm going to have details coming up a little bit.
Actually, the sad thing is it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an important story. Look forward to that. Thanks, Cheryl. All right, well, more than a dozen San Antonio cops now facing punishment, and their crime apparently supporting Donald Trump.
Yeah, in a new video, this was posted by the GOP nominee. You can see the San Antonio officers wearing Make America Great Again hats as they escorted him to the airport.
And now they could face disciplinary action for wearing the hats while on duty and in uniform. The police chief calling it inappropriate.
Let us know what you think about that one.
A lot of red hats, huh?
Well, the time now is 26 minutes after the top of the hour, and a major break in the Kim Kardashian robbery case. The brand new evidence up next.
Plus, Al Gore hitting the campaign trail for Hillary Clinton, bringing his climate change message to millennials, but he is not going to want to hear what the experts just said about it. Good morning. It is Wednesday, October 12th. The war of words between Donald Trump and the Republican establishment have just reached fever pitch.
I think we should get support, and we don't get the support from guys like Paul Ryan. I don't want his support. I don't care about his support. What I want to do is I want to win for the people.
Plus, the brand new attack ad Trump just released on Hillary Clinton and her health. We are live in Washington.
And a stunning revelation from the latest WikiLeaks document dump. Top Hillary Clinton staffers busted mocking Catholics and evangelicals.
And Tim Tebow to the rescue. When a fan has a seizure, he starts to pray. And what happened next? Nothing short of a miracle. Fox and Friends First continues right now.
The bright lights of New York City, Times Square there, where the lights never go out. Good morning to you. You're watching Fox and Friends First, and I'm Heather Childers.
I love that song. Yeah. Good morning to you. I'm Abby Huntsman. The time is currently 31 after the hour, and we do begin with the race for the White House, and the shackles have been taken off.
Donald Trump declaring war on establishment Republicans for pulling their support and vowing to teach them a lesson.
Leland Vittert is live in Washington with how it all went down, Leland, and it's all happening on the Twitterverse.
Ladies, good morning. It seems as though Mr. Trump has felt somewhat constrained or perhaps restricted by the normal rules of politics. Not anymore, he says. After House Speaker Paul Ryan announced he will no longer defend or campaign with Trump and instead focus solely on protecting the GOP's majority, Trump tweeted this: "It's so nice that the shackles have been taken off me and I can now fight for America the way I want to. Disloyal R's are far more difficult than crooked Hillary. They'll come at you from all sides. They don't know how to win. I will teach them." This is how he explained it all on the O'Reilly Factor.
I think we should get support, and we don't get the support from guys like Paul Ryan. He had a conference call yesterday with congressmen, with hundreds of them, and they practically rioted against him on the phone. One person stuck up for him. So I'm just tired of non-support, and I don't really want to support. You know, if he calls now and wants to, this happens all the time. If you sneeze, he calls up and announces. Isn't that a terrible thing? So look, I don't want his support. I don't care about his support. What I want to do is I want to win for the people, because Hillary Clinton, she is a disaster.
Well, it's not only Republicans he's fighting. He did post this video on Twitter going after Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton failed every single time as Secretary of State. Now she wants to be president. Hillary Clinton doesn't have the fortitude, strength, or stamina to lead in our world. She failed as Secretary of State.
Trump spent yesterday at a rally in the very conservative Florida Panhandle, a place he needs to get every vote he can. Consider this: no Republican has won the White House without carrying Florida since Calvin Coolidge back in 1924. And Florida, which had been a toss-up state, is now a lean Democrat state. We switched it from a toss-up because of recent polling, but also because Clinton's team has been doing an exceptional job of registering new voters. As our Carl Cameron reported yesterday, it was the deadline to register to vote in 13 states, including Florida. Trump mentioned it, registering to vote, for the first time yesterday morning, as you all pointed out, where everything seems to be playing out this election year on Twitter.
Yep. But it constantly is changing, so we'll see.
Thank you, Leland. All right, time now for Look Who's Talking. And this morning, former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich is hammering Republicans who are withdrawing their support from Donald Trump.
The only question that we ask of every Republican is not, are you going to support Donald Trump? Are you going to help beat Hillary Clinton? Because Hillary Clinton will be the most corrupt, most dishonest person ever elected. Any Republican who's willing to help her should join the Democratic Party.
Speaking of the Democratic Party, on the Democratic side, it is a blast from the past. Bill Clinton's former Vice President Al Gore campaigning alongside Hillary Clinton in the battleground state of Florida we were just talking about. The two pushing a message on climate change in hopes of appealing to millennial voters.
The choice in this election is extremely clear. Hillary Clinton will make solving the climate crisis a top national priority. Her opponent, based on the ideas that he has presented, would take us toward a climate catastrophe.
Gore, who claims to have invented the internet, if you remember that, is Clinton's latest attempt to sway younger voters away from third-party candidates.
All right. Well, Hillary Clinton's top aides attacked religious groups. That is one of many stunning revelations from the latest WikiLeaks dump of emails from campaign chair John Podesta. The 2011 email chains are between Jennifer Palmieri, Podesta, and John Halpin from the liberal think tank Center for American Progress. Halpin slammed Fox News CEO Rupert Murdoch and News Corp chairman Robert Thompson for raising their children Catholic, writing, quote, "It's an amazing bastardization of the faith. They must be attracted to the systemic thought and severely backwards gender relations." Podesta did not respond, but Palmieri did, saying, quote, "I imagine they think it is the most socially acceptable, politically conservative religion. Their rich friends wouldn't understand if they became evangelicals."
This was thinly veiled religious bigotry, not only against conservative Catholics, but also against evangelicals. Sort of the back and forth is they're conservative Catholics because they couldn't take the social pressure of being evangelicals, because that is even more out of the mainstream.
Right. Another email appears to show the Clinton team getting early access to town hall questions. Current DNC chair Donna Brazile, who worked for CNN, emailed Palmieri the day before a town hall back in March, saying, "From time to time, I get the questions in advance. Here's one that worries me about HRC, death penalty." Sure enough, the next day, Clinton got this exact question.
"I would like to know, how can you still take your stance on the death penalty in light of what you know right now?"
Both Brazile and CNN deny the accusations. Podesta now blaming the leak on Trump advisor Roger Stone. He claims Stone has been in touch with Julian Assange and gave Trump, quote, "advanced warning." WikiLeaks says they have 50,000 more emails still to come.
Will be interesting to see what they pay more attention to today, the mainstream media. Well, breaking overnight, an entire police department targeted in a possible bomb attack. The feds now hunting for the person who left a backpack stuffed with explosives right on their doorstep. Now, the bomb squad moving into a Denver, Colorado suburb to examine the bag, which sat outside a police headquarters building for more than 12 hours. The police chief describing it as a, quote, "very real threat." And now to Chicago, a massive explosion there in a suburb, reducing an entire block of homes to ash and rubble.
You guys gotta move it back. Right now, we gotta make sure this doesn't explode again.
Oh my God! Here's what we know. Two workers were fixing a gas leak outside a townhome complex when the line exploded. One person critically injured. Flames 3 stories high, if you can imagine, consuming 2 of the 5 units and sending bystanders running for their lives.
And a major break-in the Kim Kardashian robbery case. French police have found DNA on a piece of jewelry that was stolen from the reality star. Someone found the diamond cross and handed it over to police a day after Kardashian was robbed at gunpoint inside her Paris apartment. That development comes as Kardashian sues the website Media Takeout over claims that she faked her robbery. Still a lot more on the story.
Well, the time now is about 20 minutes until the top of the hour, and President Obama taking direct aim at Donald Trump and his supporters.
The guy says stuff that nobody would find tolerable if they were applying for a job at 7-Eleven.
And he didn't stop there.
And how do dead people get millions from the government? The stunning new report, that is next. And Tim Tebow to the rescue. When a fan has a seizure, he starts to pray. And what happened next? Well, nothing short of a miracle.
We love Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
Welcome back. 27 days until the election. Can you imagine? President Obama is hitting the campaign trail for Hillary Clinton and taking shots at those who support Donald Trump.
The fact that now you've got people saying, well, we strongly disapprove. We really disagree. We find those comments disgusting. But we're still endorsing it. We still think he should be president. That doesn't make sense to me.
The president's also poking fun at Clinton protesters in North Carolina in the crowd there, saying that they were, quote, auditioning for a reality show.
All right, listen to this story. Dead people getting millions from the government. A stunning new audit out this morning. Cheryl Casoni from our sister network Fox Business here now with more on this. Cheryl, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Abby. Well, that's right. A recent audit by the Inspector General for the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid found the agency improperly paid $1.5 million in benefits to dead people between the years 2013 and 2015. According to the audit, the agency processed 1,047 Medicare claims worth nearly $1.5 million for services after the recipient's date of death. Now, while the agency does have processes in place to make sure benefits do not continue, it relies on data from the Social Security Administration to prevent fraud. A spokesman said the agency is strongly committed to program integrity efforts in Medicare and continuously works to prevent improper payments to deceased beneficiaries. Many people not surprised, though, sadly, by this. Back to you.
Thank you, Cheryl. We're going to switch gears now, though, and talk about a little sports. Colin Kaepernick will actually have to get off the bench. The 49ers quarterback, who inspired a wave of unpatriotic protests against the national anthem, has been named the starter. We'll see what happens with this. He will take over for struggling Blaine Gabbert this Sunday against the Bills, but it may come at a cost for Kaepernick. The team is reportedly restructuring his multi-million-dollar contract, making it cheaper if they decide to let him go next year.
Well, here's a heartwarming story. Tim Tebow performing what some are calling a miracle while signing autographs after a minor league game in Arizona. One of his fans collapsed, appearing to have a seizure. Well, Tebow put a hand on the fan, saying a prayer, keeping him calm until the paramedics arrived. The man luckily is expected to be okay. And this is not the first time for Tebow. He also prayed with a man who experienced heart problems during a flight back in June.
Yeah.
Good man.
Yeah, I love Tim Tebow. Yeah. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Ducey. Coming up on Fox and Friends in 12 minutes, we're going to take you back to a Trump rally on Monday in Pennsylvania. Donald Trump there at the podium. He sees in the distance somebody, he says, look at that guy over there. And then the crowd started chanting, bring him up, bring him up. Who was he? Here's a clue.
Now, he's supposed to look like Donald Trump, but he's actually much too good looking. You are really handsome. Where's your daddy? And your mommy, right? Do you want to go back? Do you want to go back to them, or do you want to stay with Donald Trump?
Trump.
He said Trump. He is 2 years old. His name is Hunter. Hunter is going to be joining us today along with his mother. They're calling him Tiny Trump, and he's going to be with us today. Also, Rob O'Neill, the guy who killed Osama bin Laden, Sheriff David Clark. And ladies, we've got Kellyanne Conway, the person who's behind the Trump campaign. All starts 11 minutes from right now, right here on the channel. Everybody trusts for their morning news.
A lot going on this morning. Can't wait to watch that.
Yeah.
Little kid is so
You
cute.
really can't script those moments, and that was really an awesome one.
Because you never know what a kid's going to say.
I know.
You never know.
He took a chance.
He's going to be 30 years old saying, remember when this video came out? So cute. Thanks, Steve.
You bet, Abby. Have a great day.
All right. Will someone wake up Al Gore to show him how this bold prediction is now coming along?
There is a 75% chance that the entire North Polar ice cap could be completely ice-free within the next 5 to 7 years.
Well, the former vice president joining other climate change scientists declaring all the Arctic ice would be gone by now. But according to the National Snow and Ice Data Center, the ice has actually expanded by 31% in the Arctic Circle just since 2012.
Well, President Obama, meantime, executing a last-minute course correction when it comes to the space program. The president now wants the U.S. to put humans on Mars by 2030 with the help of private innovators. But we've heard this before.
So let me start by being extremely clear. I am 100% committed to the mission of NASA and its future.
Well, that was the president back in 2010 promising to continue deep space exploration, but instead he ended up overseeing the end of NASA's space shuttle program.
Well, Ben Affleck is back on the big screen with his new movie, The Accountant.
And here with his review, Fox News contributor and founder of NerdTears.com, Kevin McCarthy. Always love having you in the morning.
Good morning, Abby and Heather. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Love the tie.
This looks really good, though, this movie.
Yeah, the movie's incredible. Imagine like an R-rated Jason Bourne, essentially. Ben Affleck plays a character called obviously he's the accountant, but the idea here is that he's kind of uncooking books for some very dangerous people, including cartels, but he also serves as an assassin as well. So a lot of the action in the film is very intense. His character has autism, and at an early age, his father gave him a lot of military training, so he uses that in regards to his job. And the accountant title is kind of like an idea of like being hidden behind that, but he is an incredible performance in this film. Ben Affleck does a great job. I think the direction is incredible. Gavin O'Connor, who directed the movie, is phenomenal. He made a movie called Warrior, also the movie Miracle, which is an amazing movie as well. This movie has incredible storytelling, incredible action, but just know going in, it's very, very R-rated. That means it's very brutal at times to watch, but I think Affleck does a great job. So does J.K. Simmons, as well as Anna Kendrick, and I gave the movie a 4 out of 5. It has a really, really interesting twist to it at the end that I kind of had to think about for a little while, but it really does stay with you for a while.
Well, all right, so you're not giving it away. Sorry, we were pausing. Thank you for not giving it away.
I'm not going to give it away. No. Okay, but I did sit down. I did sit down with Ben Affleck and Gavin O'Connor, the director and the star of the film. And one of the cool things in the film is that there's this scene where Ben Affleck is writing like hundreds or thousands of numbers all over these windows and these glass windows in this office. And I wanted to know, did he actually have to sit there and do that himself, or did someone come in and write it for him? And I was actually genuinely shocked by this answer. Watch this.
We got Ben's handwriting.
That's a cool thing, actually, yeah.
Yeah, we got Ben's handwriting, and then we were replicating that with... so that really
turned my handwriting into a font with a computer.
What's that called? Affleck font?
I guess they gave it to me. So now I can type in my own handwriting, so they could print out with the computer in a font that looks like my handwriting. So a computer printed all that stuff out.
That's amazing.
But in my handwriting. I know, cool, right? I thought that was a really neat trick.
I had a forensic accountant with us through the whole process to make sure all the numbers were accurate.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I gave the movie a 4 out of 5, and it comes out on Friday of this week, so make sure you see it. It's pretty awesome.
And something else may be going on that's, I'm sure, going to get 5 stars from you. You're getting married this weekend.
Big weekend, Kevin. We've been waiting for this.
Yeah, I'm definitely in that freak out mode right now because my fiance is, we're in that time where she has planned everything, and I'm just kind of like trying to make sure everything goes right. I mean, we sat up until last night practicing our dance lessons, so I'm excited about it. So I'm looking forward to it.
Your proposal right there, well, that's what we're looking at, and you have to tell us, what are you going to wear?
I was going to say that the outfit you wore when you proposed is pretty fantastic. So what are you going to wear for the actual wedding day, Kevin?
So I got a custom tux made for myself. It's a black tux, but I have a bunch of secret compartments inside of it. I have like movie quotes all over the back of it and the neck area. And there's some really cool stuff going on there. But I mean, I just got to say, I cannot believe that I'm getting married to this amazing person. Aww. She's the greatest person I've ever met in my entire life. So, I mean, I'm just a very, very lucky person to be marrying her. Her name is Lauren, and she's amazing. She works for Breitbart. She is just incredible. I love her.
Yeah. Aww. I love your pictures on social media. I kind of stalk you a little bit, but you guys look like you have an awesome time all the time.
She's beautiful. Kevin, congratulations. We're so excited for you.
No, I appreciate it. And thank you so much for having me on your show. It's always an honor to be here, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend, all right?
All right. You too. Congrats.
Bye, guys.
Kevin. Time is now almost 5 minutes to top of the hour. And brand new fallout for Samsung. The action the company is now taking if you have one of those exploding phones.
Plus, it took 5 hours for this to happen. The implosion fail that you have to see. The time is 2 minutes until the top of the hour. Before we leave the house, here's what's happening for you today. The presidential candidates storming the swing states. Donald Trump holding rallies in Florida while Hillary Clinton heads to Colorado. WikiLeaks says that they have 50,000 more Clinton campaign chair John Podesta's emails waiting to be released. They've already dumped 3 batches within the last 2 weeks. So let's keep talking about this. Will these dumps hurt Hillary? Log on to Fox and Friends First Facebook page right after the show. And Samsung giving out fireproof boxes to customers so they can send back those exploding phones. UPS and FedEx originally refused to handle the returns.
Time now for the good, the bad, and the ugly. First for the good. From rocker to royalty, Rod Stewart is now a knight. The 71-year-old receiving the honor from Prince William at Buckingham Palace, becoming Sir Roderick David Stewart. Next, the bad, a 93-year-old bridge deemed weak turns out to be anything but weak. The Little Rock, Arkansas bridge refusing to fall despite several explosions. It took crews 5 hours to finally bring that bridge down. And the ugly, the creepy clown craze claims a new victim, Ronald McDonald. The fast food chain signature mascot is laying low until the clown sightings start to die down.
Yeah.
How creepy is that?
Pulling those clown masks from Halloween stores as well.
All right.
Well, Fox and Friends starts right now.
Have a good day.
Good morning to you and your family. It's Wednesday. It's October 12th, 2016. I'm Ainsley Earhart. Donald Trump unleashing a war of words on fellow Republicans.
I think we should get support, and we don't get the support from guys like Paul Ryan. I don't want his support. I don't care about his support. What I want to do is I want to win for the people.
Well, he might not have Paul Ryan's support, but does he still have Marco Rubio's?
Good question, because he was down in Florida. Then another bombshell from the trove of email released by the hackers at WikiLeaks. Top Hillary Clinton staffers busted for mocking Catholics and evangelicals, just making fun of them. We're going to tell you more.
And then call him the Miracle Met. Tim Tebow becomes an angel in the outfield, saving a man's life.
What?
It's going to be a great show this morning, and we're glad you're watching.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Studio E. Look who's dropped by.
I know.
E for excellent. Good morning.
You.
Thank you
We
for
love
having
you
me.
here. Good to see you.
Thank you, Ainsley.
Now, are you going to be a little thrown off? Because normally on the weekend, you sit right here where I'm sitting.
I've got vertigo, but that's okay. It's like this is a brand new set to me. It's so fresh.
Well, the lights are on that side. Wait a minute.
I love it.
Is it hard for you to turn to the left?
Honestly, it is.
I knew that.
All right, well...
no, do you remember the time he was here? You were filling in for Brian, right?
Yeah.
And you had a crick in your neck and you couldn't turn.
Oh, that's right.
I want to dedicate the show to Advil, which solves all problems.
All right. Anyway, it's great to have you, and it's great to have you, because there are just 27 days now until election. And today, the Trump train is roaring through Florida again as the Republican nominee declares war on the GOP establishment.
Trump is just fed up after his own party abandoned him and didn't support him, but his fight is nowhere near over.
What exactly is going on? John Roberts has the answer. He's live in Ocala, Florida. Ocala, with how it all went down. Good morning, John.
Tucker, good morning to you as well. Stephen, Ainsley, Tucker, if you want to get really disoriented, we'll put you on a horse here at the Southeastern Livestock Pavilion, run you around the ring a few times. That ought to do it. Left or right, doesn't really matter. Donald Trump in the Sunshine State last night, today, and part of tomorrow. He now trails Hillary Clinton here in the Real Clear Politics average of polls by about 2.5 points. Trying to battle back because he was leading in the state of Florida. He does still have the support of Marco Rubio. By the way, he still has the support of John Boehner in the state of Ohio as well. But yesterday, Donald Trump going off on many of the Republicans who have decided that they're not going to stick with him, though Paul Ryan has not really withdrawn his endorsement yet. He says that he's not going to do anything to help Donald Trump. John McCain as well, saying that he can no longer support Donald Trump. Trump talked to Bill O'Reilly about all of that last night. Listen to what he said. He had a conference call yesterday with congressmen, with hundreds of them, and they practically rioted against him on the phone. One person stuck up for him. So look, I don't want his support. I don't care about his support. He's never heard salty language before. You know, John McCain, who has probably the dirtiest mouth in all of the Senate. So Donald Trump now fighting a war on two fronts against Republicans who are not supporting him the way that he would like them to, and his opponent, Hillary Clinton, yesterday at a big rally in Panama City, Florida,
thousands of people outside to see Donald Trump, zeroing in on the latest email dump showing ties between the Clintons and the government and what that nexus all leads to, suggesting that really it is a pattern of corruption. Here's Trump last night from Panama City.
No place. The Hillary Clinton documents released today by WikiLeaks make more clear than ever just how much is at stake in this election. This election will determine whether we remain a free country in the truest sense of the word, or we become a corrupt banana republic.
Not talking about the clothing store there either. Donald Trump sending out a tweet yesterday saying that the shackles have been taken off, that he is now free to run this campaign the way he wants to. We're not sure exactly what that means in the remaining month of this campaign, but I would expect Tucker, Ainsley, and Steve a return more to the combative slash and burn style in which he dispatched 16 or 17 other Republicans in the primary campaign. So watch for the flamethrower to come out, I would think.
No kidding. All right, John Roberts, thank you very much.
Thanks,
he wasn't talking about that retail store. Maybe he was talking about the gap between his fans and the Republican establishment. And to John's point right at the end, that's how he got famous, by taking on the establishment.
I love the idea he's unshackled, though. He's taking off the librarian glasses, pulling out the bobby pin. I mean, we shouldn't forget, though, at the core of all of this, the dispute between Trump and the establishment is disagreements on policy. I mean, they presided over massive low-wage immigration, outsourcing of jobs. They disagree on a lot of issues.
It's going to be interesting to see what comes out of this election going forward with the political parties. Is there going to be a split among Republicans?
There's a realignment for sure.
Absolutely. Listen, if Congress wants to kiss off Donald Trump's fan base, they're toast. Just say it.
Yeah, that's a math question, what you just said.
It absolutely is. Anyway, we are exactly 1 week away from the final debate. It will be October 19th, and it's going to be historic. The first member of the Fox News team, Chris Wallace, is going to be moderating the debate. And, of course, coverage, there it is right there. Look at that. We had a banner. The coverage will be moderated by Chris and then hosted by Megan and Brett.
You got to think that this WikiLeaks thing, this lost in all the hysteria over Donald Trump, was a treasure trove of documents that have come out in the last week from WikiLeaks, taken from the email accounts of high-level Clinton people, including John Podesta, the chairman of her campaign, that really offer a window into the behind-the-scenes workings there that is unbelievable.
You know when the tape came out of Donald Trump on Friday, I'm sure the Hillary camp was so excited because it was a distraction from everything happening in WikiLeaks. This morning when we were meeting down in the newsroom, we were talking about, like, which scandal are we going to talk about?
It's overwhelming.
What email are we going to talk about? Because there are thousands of them. As you pour through them all, it's one scandal after another. Donna Brazile, who at the time was the vice chairman of the DNC, was giving Hillary Clinton the questions for one of the primary debates against Bernie Sanders.
In order to hurt Sanders.
Sure. Here are just some of the highlights from WikiLeaks, and there are 1,000, so I'll just do some of the highlights.
Okay.
Saudi Arabia and Qatar are funding ISIS. The Univision chief, the guy who runs the network, urged Hillary to hit Trump harder. And certainly not fair and balanced. John Harwood over at the New York Times, the debate moderator back in October, he advised Hillary Clinton campaign, and then had some crazy stuff that he had to say disparaging about Donald Trump. New York Times gave Hillary Clinton veto power on quotes, and even her campaign told her when to smile in speeches. She would have a speech, and then it would say, in brackets, smile here.
It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
The deep corruption of the press. You remember John Harwood, of course, presided over that Republican debate where a lot of people said, boy, he is being awfully unfair. These questions are unfair. And then we see him in these emails bragging to the chairman of the Hillary campaign about how nasty he was to Trump in that. I mean, it really is an inside deal. You hate to think that, but these emails prove it.
There's another one that struck all of us this morning, mocking and making fun of Catholics and evangelicals. John Halpin, who is a fellow at the liberal think tank, it's called Center for American Progress, was exchanging emails with several people in Hillary's campaign and making fun.
Including Jennifer Palmieri,
that's right,
who is her communications director right now.
Making fun of two individuals that are very powerful here, Rupert Murdoch, who is over News Corporation, and then also Robert Thompson, managing editor for the Wall Street Journal, because they're raising their kids Catholic, and because Rupert Murdoch decided to go over and baptize his children in Jordan, where John the Baptist was baptized, mocking that and making fun of evangelicals.
So here's some excerpts from it. First up, Mr. Halpin at the think tank, regarding Catholicism, he says it's an amazing bastardization of the faith. They must be attracted to the systemic thought and severely backwards gender relations.
That's unbelievable.
So that's him describing in his conversation with Jennifer Palmieri Catholicism.
Well, as a Christian...
And then she says, I imagine they think it is the most socially acceptable, politically conservative religion. Their rich friends wouldn't understand if they became evangelicals.
You know what? That makes me just feel sorry for them, because they haven't experienced the glory and the wonderful aspects of Christianity.
But I mean, that's also the textbook definition of bigotry. They are dismissing anyone who adheres to the world's oldest Christian faith, Catholicism, as some sort of Neanderthal. Imagine, let's just play the game. Imagine you take out Catholicism and put in Islam. How exactly would this go over? I mean, there would be a real outcry.
Oh, 100%.
And we would
right.
recognize this for what it is, which is bigotry against, you know, a billion people.
I just think of them as these elitists that are making fun of Christians, evangelicals. They've made fun of Donald Trump's base, calling him deplorable. We're going to be talking about this later in the show. Bill Clinton was caught on microphone speaking to a group talking about the rednecks in the South that are supporting Donald Trump.
Absolutely. Look, every president has picked up the Catholic vote, I think, for the last 50 years, with the exception of Al Gore, which was a very complicated election. Don't know if you heard about that. But just to think, and to your point, Tucker, had they been talking about Islam or Muslims instead of Catholics and Christians, there would be a town hall over on MSNBC right now calling on all these people to
there would be a primetime apology from President Obama. I mean, look, here's what this is about. We have you watch these people carefully, and you sort of know, if you're a sort of normal American, that they have contempt for you. That they're hostile to you, to your values, to your family, to the way you raise your children. They deny it in public, and yet whenever the curtain is pulled back, we see it confirmed. These people don't like you because you are a speed bump on their way to power. It's scary, that attitude.
So I guess they're also mocking Tim Kaine, who's a Catholic, Joe Biden, who is a Catholic, John Kerry, who is a Catholic. The list goes on.
Well, it'd be interesting to get comment from, especially from Joe Biden, who goes to Mass every single day, who I think is a sincere Catholic, a liberal one, but still, what does he think of this?
Maybe more children need to be raised in Catholic homes or Christian homes, and our world might be a better place.
That's just making fun of anybody's religion is off the charts. Anyway, we're going to be talking about this morning and many of the other WikiLeaks developments, but right now we turn to Heather, who's got a whole bunch of news.
Yeah, good morning, and that is something else what you guys are talking about this morning. 11 minutes after the hour, a couple headlines to bring you. Starting out in the Midwest this morning, where there is a massive explosion in a Chicago suburb, reducing an entire block of homes to ash and rubble. Watch this.
You guys gotta move it back. Right now, we gotta make sure this doesn't explode again. Oh my God.
Two workers were fixing a gas leak outside a townhome complex when the line exploded, leaving one of those workers critically hurt. Flames 3 stories high, consuming 2 of the 5 units and setting bystanders running for their lives. Also breaking overnight, an entire police department targeted in a possible bomb attack. The feds are now looking for the person who left a backpack stuffed with explosives right on the police department's doorstep. The bomb squad moving in, this happened in a suburb of Denver, to take a look at that bag. It sat outside police headquarters building for more than 12 hours. The police chief describing it as a, quote, very real threat. We'll bring you more on that story as we get it. Tens of thousands of people this morning are being told to get to higher ground immediately. Storm-ravaged North Carolina is now bracing for even more flooding resulting from Hurricane Matthew.
Helicopters would fly around my house. They didn't fly over me. And I had all kind of signals. I wrote notes all over the house. I had sheets hanging out. Nobody saved me but my son and my nephew.
Well, swollen rivers taking over towns as far as 80 miles inland, stranding people inside those homes for days and days. And then in Haiti, the hardest struck area from this hurricane, people are still grappling with the apocalyptic damage that Matthew brought to that country. Some cities now bracing for famine after all of their crops were wiped out. At least 500 people killed as a result.
And if you're still scratching your head, oh my, look at this image. It's a little tough to see this morning. If you're just trying to figure out how you're going to decorate your pumpkin this year, you could try out the latest fad, the Donald Trumpkin. Oh gosh, wow. Folks all over the country painting, carving, and drawing Donald Trump's face. Some even adding that signature blonde, orange hair, whatever you call it. So do you have a Trumpkin at your home? Send us a picture on Facebook or Twitter, or email us at friends@foxnews.com. There's an idea.
Yeah, the little boy that dressed up like him is going to be on our show today.
He was adorable.
So either dress up your kids or your gourds.
Go big orange.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Send in a picture of Al Gord dressed as Mr. Trump. Coming up, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton battling over their tax plans. But who will put more money in your pocket? Professor Brian Brinberg here next.
We're bringing the tax rate down from 35% to 15%. We're cutting taxes for the middle class, and I will tell you, we are cutting them big league.
And we're going to make sure that nobody, no corporation and no individual can get away without paying his fair share to support our country.
Mr. Trump. Whoa, a lot of numbers, a lot of claims. The real question is, which candidate has a better plan for the economy? Here to weigh in is Professor Brian Brinberg. He's the chair of the program in business and finance at the King's College right here in New York City. Brian, it's great to see you this morning.
Good to be here.
So to sort of bottom line it, under whose plan will the average person pay more?
They're going to pay more under Clinton's plan. There's no question about it.
There's no question.
She's focusing on upper income individuals. That's who she wants to tax. The question is, how much does that trickle down to the rest of taxpayers, as you see less investment, lower job creation, and that sort of thing. So I think here she's really targeting high income earners, but you're going to see some kind of trickle down.
So that's always the claim.
Yeah.
People you've never met before are going to pay more, but you're not going to.
And this is the issue. What the question is, when you tax the rich, what do? Do they just say, okay, I'll take it, I'll pay that tax? No, they change their behavior, and that means they're investing less, they're creating fewer jobs. That hits everybody else. So you see the income hit on lower income earners, not because they're getting taxed more, but because the economy is slowing down.
Okay, so let's put some of Clinton's plan on the screen here. $275 billion for infrastructure, 4% surcharge on incomes over $5 million, just right across. Deductions limited to 28% off your tax bill. Let's just address the first one, infrastructure. A lot of support for this idea, bipartisan, and yet we just had a massive infrastructure program, shovel-ready jobs, under the current president. Did that help?
Infrastructure is important to facilitate economic growth, but it can't be the catalyst. It's not going to be the source of it. We've seen that experiment too many times.
Yes, we just saw it.
Japan, China, the United States. Spending by itself on infrastructure isn't going to get the economy moving. It's important, but it can't be the catalyst. You can't rely on it.
So here's in essence, the Trump plan. So first up, limit corporate tax to 15%, fully deduct all child care expenses, renegotiate NAFTA, stop TPP, issue moratorium on federal regulations, and end the death tax. What does that add up to?
He's going for growth big time here. He looks at the economy and says the problem is we're growing too slowly, so I'm going to do everything I can to get the economy growing. Cut taxes, I'm going to cut regulations. These are the kinds of things that can spur business investment, that can spur job creation, that can get that economic growth number back up. He sees that as the long-term solution to our debt issues. He sees that as a long-term solution to our wage
Very
issues.
quickly, he keeps saying that cutting back on regulations is in effect money in your pocket. Do you think that's true?
Absolutely. If you talk to any small business owner out there, they're going to tell you the one thing that's holding me back is I have a mountain of regulations. It's so costly for me to comply with those. If I could get away from those and start investing in my business, growing my business, that would